to the LEC Spring Finals 2025. As we're bringing back the chaos, I think it is apt for hopefully what we're going to see today. My name is Shax, and I'm joined here by my wonderful panel of Finn Goldberg and Otto Clip. Come on, temperature check. We excited?
Oh, we're so excited. I'm so hyped for today.
After yesterday's game, MKOI pulling off that, honestly, underdog win against K-Corp, I'm super hyped going into today.
Bro, last night was a movie, am I right?
It certainly was.
Like, I think now all the doubts, maybe some people had doubts regarding if MKOI could be a team to contest, but after beating the champions from Winter, I think they've shut them up.
Also, Jack Spectra, he's on the caster desk now and not on the analyst desk because of his faulty prediction. No, it's not really the reason, but we're really happy that he's over there. We're really happy that we have the panel here as well. So let's look back a little bit more up close at yesterday, because we see them here in the studio, the co-streamers, right? And obviously in the Cometa booth, it wasn't that nice. But on the other side, in the Spanish co-streamer booth, it was going off. I mean the coaches, everything.
It was flashbacks to Madrid from all their reaction, from the momentum, and honestly the momentum they've had ever since that event. And I think yesterday, the fact that they could prove not only once, but 2 times in a best of 5, they could take down Casey and move on to MSI in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, you see all the emotions because they know how hard they have worked. They weren't one of our best teams coming into spring, but now they are at the top, and it's just because of all those hours, all those extra hours they put in.
It absolutely paid off, and we doubted them, and I know they talk about it a lot on their streams. It's like, oh, you guys give so much attention to KC and G2, right? Because you kind of do, because they were winning, but we always sold them as the underdogs, right?
No, me and Finn yesterday said MKOI win, all right? The only one who didn't say anything was Jack.
One of us said 3-2, one of us said 3-1, okay? Let's not put
right, but we're in the same, but we're parking in the same spot here. That's all I'm saying. Okay,
You're
fair
double
enough.
parked, for sure. Let's talk about some of the things we saw yesterday that might also be important today, because big task for MKOI. We saw them flounder when they had one night to prepare for G2 the last time, but they showed us a lot of cool things.
Yeah, I was extremely excited for the Kassadin because every time, let's be real, every time someone sees a Kassadin, everyone's saying, it's going to be really useless, right? And I was one of the big skeptics. I was very skeptic about the performance it would bring up. But man, did Jojo deliver. Even with the Casio in game 5, first timing it, because he said it himself, it was just something to behold.
Bro, the Cassidy was crazy, but also the Jinx. I feel like whenever we're in game 5 of Fearless and all the engage are out, Jinx is just such a powerhouse. I love Powder.
You love to call for that one.
My favorite champion from Arcane. I love Jinx. But yeah, I love the pick from Soup. I love the confidence.
Yeah, I think it's just a preparation from MKOI in general that I'm hoping that they kind of learned against the mistakes they had against G2 last time, that then today can fix all those things, have the same prep they had against KC, and show a better performance.
Knowing how hard they worked, I feel like they've already looked very closely at G2 even before that series. Alvaro saying, who by the way had another standout performance, that they figured it out a little bit more, how they like to play in these high-octane clutch moments. And I think that's something that we're left to see, Odo, because MKOI, for me, they are very clutch, right? If you go game 5 against the KC in such an important moment, back-to-back, and you win it, oof.
It says a lot, but at the same time, the question is the same as Alvaro. Did they figure out enough? Because it's a repeat of last week, where you have one series going up against G2. How do you manage energy? How do you manage expectations? How do you manage your prep going into such a high-stakes game?
It's true. Now, something we are also longing for, really just thirsting for, is trash talk. Oh. Luckily, we have the Marriott Bonvoy pre-game check-in.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here in the player tunnel with Mirvin and Las Carpas. Thank you so much for joining us. Ahead of the last best of 5 of spring season. Mirvin, first, thank you so much and congrats on making it to finals.
Thank you.
First thing I want to talk about is what Broken Blade said, because he was like, I'm more scared of Kana than Mirvin, but then you're the one making it to finals, so anything you want to tell him, maybe?
Yeah, I understand why he's scared. I think one of his weakest points is laning phase, and that's as strong as Kana. So I can see why he would be a bit shaking into Kana, but I will make sure he regrets that choice.
So your laning phase, huh? A weakness.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the games yesterday, and it sure looked like there was Mervin's weakness playing against Kana, so.
Lately, he became a bit boring, you know, a bit washed. What can I say?
Okay.
Now, no more Warwick, no more fun picks. What can I say? I'm alone now in this boat. What? So now I'm a hater officially.
Well, last time we played against them, the General of Noxus took a victory against them, so let's see what I have today in store in my pocket. You know, I have a lot of pocket picks, as you guys know. Let's see if he's ready for that.
What do you think of his champion pool and his Nico, maybe?
I think his champion pool is funny, just the way he plays as well. So let's see if today is going to be comedic.
I really hope it's a 3-2, honestly. I love competition. I don't want a 3-0 for both teams. I just want to enjoy. I want a 3-2, that we have the most fun. And I want to leave the trophy, honestly.
Nonetheless, of the friendly banter, it's going to be a competitive match. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a long time since I felt this excited. And that usually is a dangerous sign for the enemy. So I wish you guys best of luck.
Dangerous sign indeed. Well, last time we felt that excited was before the Winter Finals. So take that as you may.
Damn, low blow.
But hey, the trash talk was pretty good, right?
It was good, yeah.
It was fire.
I liked it. They don't hold any punches. But I think when it comes to G2, it's been interesting because it happens a lot with them that a lot of people write them off. I mean, us included a little bit. Coming into playoffs, will they even make it? Some dare to say.
They need that to fuel them,
You
right?
think?
They needed the Giotto interview. They needed me a little bit. They were on a 3-game losing streak before I said that.
That's just the hate watch meta. Everyone's just watching G2, looking at them, and they're like, aha,
Praying
you
for
tripped
their
this time.
downfall.
But then playoffs come. Ooh,
But
they're
I-
the beast to handle.
And I will say, I think there's some valid reasons to why people have been doubting G2, because we haven't really seen that much from this roster yet. I will say I'm very impressed at the way they've ramped up this season. I feel like coming into this final, they are actually looking like the strongest team in the league.
Well, let's see how G2 likes to answer those haters.
He might almost die here to Irrelevant, has to flash away, and already Skumon's down, and Caps will follow suit. BDS just give his life on time and take it out, he can't get the auto down, Skumon burned, and the Dragon will go to Fnatic. G2 are caught all out of sorts, Unsummoned down as well, Giant X in bloody disengaged though, the wall divides, it's fine.
Here's my take, right?
All right.
G2, they won't qualify for playoffs this time around.
I don't think G2 will make it to Worlds this year.
Wait, can we get the check? How much is it?
It's Fnatic.
All right, and welcome back. Otto, I know this time around you have brought to me a Telestrator clip. You wanted to talk about G2. We've just seen how crazy they've gotten ever since someone called them out of it. And then, you know, you brought something in. What you got for me today?
Well, it's a clip where it's a little bit unusual macro, because right now you'd be saying, what would we be saying here, GB? Because it's the beginning, and now we have a typical cross map.
That's exactly what I would call it, right? Right now, it looks like I'm seeing MKOI going for Rift Herald. I'm seeing G2 go for the Dragon. I see BB with a push down towards the bot side. So it looks like a very stock standard cross map.
No.
No?
No.
No?
They're gonna start this Dragon, they're gonna walk over to the mid lane, get Prio, and stop this Herald. There is no way G2 is giving up this Herald for free just like that. It's just an easy retake.
Okay, so what I'm seeing then instead is that you've just gotten Drake, you stopped the Dragon, or the Rift Herald, you're going for resets instead, you're probably gonna clear some jungle games with Skumon, and then you reset the play.
No.
No?
No. What they're gonna do is that the Lavrov is gonna base here, walk over back to this Herald. Skumon is just gonna dance around the jungle to figure out the good opportunity, because this top wave over here and this bot wave is being caught by MKOI. And what they're gonna do is that they're gonna start this Herald and use the fact that they're on the tempo train.
Okay, so actually MKOI thought they had time to catch wave because they thought G2 was going for the same thing. But little did they know that G2 is actually posturing for Rift Herald, going for a team fight. Perfect wall by Caps to split it up, and they get the kills. They find the Rift Herald, they find the team fight, and surely they go for the resets now.
Did you learn nothing, GB? No!
No?
What Caps is gonna do is she's just gonna loop around this mid wave. They're not gonna use this Herald. By the time the next Drake is coming up, he's gonna get this Prio, walk over bot, because Merwin right over here is about to catch a wave, and since they're still on the tempo train, there's no reason to get off of it.
Okay, so that's actually pretty sick. So they're gonna get the kill here, they're gonna drop the Rift Herald, they're gonna get tier 2, and then that's gonna be the play.
No!
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 They're gonna drive this Herald right back through the jungle. They're gonna go mid and crash it into the tower. Did you learn nothing, GB?
Okay, so I've learned. That means once this play stops, there's another play coming.
No, this time it's actually over.
yeah,
There's just nothing. They're gonna reset and they're gonna play stock standard League of Legends.
Okay, so, but that was a pretty long play. That was a pretty long sequence. And
It was fun, though.
That's the kind of tempo that you have to keep up with.
That's what you need to get if you want to win the LEC, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Now, Law is standing by with Broken Blade in our Marriott Bonway pre-game check-in once again.
The two-timer.
The two-timer.
BB, thank you for joining me ahead of your series today. You guys always make it, whatever happens, and I do feel like over time, people keep on praying for your downfall, either hoping that you're not going to make worlds like Giroto or the fans, whatever we see on social media. How do you react to that?
I mean, for us, it's like quite funny, you know. Like we take it with a lot of humor. Obviously, we win a lot, so people get bored of us winning a lot. But we take it as a big motivation. Like when Giroto was saying that we're not going to make it to Worlds. I mean, obviously, we took it personal, right? Like we didn't win the finals, but we're always going to make sure we are there. And yeah, today is no different. And today we want to take it home with us this time around, so I'm excited for it.
What is it about? Is it shutting up the haters? Is it your resilience? Is it like the systems that you guys have at G2? What makes you guys so good and actually show up when it matters?
I think it's a story that we want to create in G2, you know, and I think every single player that does join, they have to be willing to take this path with us together and create this story together, and I think that's the beautiful part of being in G2. And sometimes we don't have great weeks or we don't have great splits, but we always come back stronger. And there was no split where I didn't give it my best. And I'm very happy with being in G2 and being with this group of people.
It's something that Caps mentioned when he renewed with the team, and we had this interview on stage actually about this, and he was telling me that G2 is the best environment to compete, to find success, and basically to be the best. Can you tell me more about this, and why do you think G2's environment may be the best?
First of all, I believe it is the best from my personal experience. Because everyone is just not only inside of the game, but also outside of the game, always challenging you to do better. And it's not just about what you are as a player, but also as a human being. We always challenge ourselves to be better every single day. I believe we are the hardest working team, and I'm very grateful we have not only great players, but also a great staff behind us who gives us the resources to be able to learn that kind of things. So that is why I think we have the edge of our other people and why we are so consistent.
It's funny because like you've been with G2 for so long, since 2021, end of 2021, I believe, season 2022. You've seen everything. You tasted success, you tasted failures. What is your motivation and what is today about?
Honestly, I'm very, very excited for today. It's been a long time since I've had this feeling of wanting to win a trophy again. And when I woke up today, I felt like a little bit of goosebumps. And usually when I feel this, I know it's going to be a good day. So I hope that I don't hope actually, I'll make sure this feeling is not in vain. And yeah, I really want to win with this group of people. It would mean a lot for me to win with a new roster. This would be the first time with this roster that we win. And I think this would be the starting line for us to like really make sure we get the show rolling, because there's going to be an international tournament, no matter if you lose or win today. But going there with a win in our backs would mean a lot. So, and it would be funny to send Jojo home a bit earlier so he can enjoy vacation. So that would be funny. But that is just a side note. We focus on winning in the first place.
And I hope this day is going to be everything you want. BB, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank
and
you.
Back to you.
Thank you so much. As we find ourselves here in the fan zone with the fans, there's a reason we always talk to Broken Blade. He's great. He gives PR answers, but also a little bit of spice. We love it. Now, we haven't maybe made it that clear, but we've got some allegiances. Finn is a Movistar Koi boy, through and through. And Odo, he's taking the corner of G2 today.
The usual.
The usual.
I'm always with the favorites, you know, because it's if they win, I get to claim the laurels very easily.
That's true, but I want to parlay that into this jungle matchup because there's so much to say about these lads and their journey, as where Skumond is just beginning his, Elyoya has been through a lot.
Yeah, Elyoya, I think is one of the players that have impressed me the most this split, because I feel like this is his team. He is the one that went his own way, and he kind of built this team from scratch. And now he's taking them to the second final, and I think this is the one with Jojo in the mid lane, where they can finally cross that hurdle and become champions.
Yeah, but enough with this like narrative that he brought up his own team and he created it. Skewmon rocks up in a team like G2 established. You know, you have Caps, and you have BB as your laners. Every time you're like, if you're a jungler coming in, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna play for them, I'm gonna make it about them. But no, this guy, he just plays for himself and molds the whole playstyle about from G2 around himself. Like, look at these stats. Highest pretty much at every single thing, and even at the points where Elyoya might be better than him, he's still neck and neck with him.
No, you're telling me this guy is the best solo laners in the league and he still plays for himself? What an arrogant jerk. Elyoya, he is playing for his team. I think he makes it a strategic decision to make sure to invest more resources into his laners. He makes his laners shine at the cost of his own individual accolades and stats. He's still having a higher impact on the game.
Yeah, but if this backfires, he doesn't have the backup of himself being set up ahead. We saw Skewmon, every time he gets the time to do his 3-4 full clears, because the laners are so ahead, he's going to become a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, when it comes to the game, you can say what you like. I mean, they'll show it at the Rift, but I want to look at Legacy as well. And some might find the next graphic, you know, a little bit dubious, but we're going to show it anyway,
This is just telling the entire story of the players. Elyoya, he's been through here. He has reverse swept Odamna in the finals, and he has constantly shown that he is a top jungler in Europe. This is his chip. He is the captain, and he's going to sail them to victory.
Yeah, but at the same time, how can you rig the graphics so hard when you take a guy at the beginning of his road, about to set his legacy for the forward years, just like that? That's just...
I'll tell you why. You know why?
Tell me why.
Because he now sees a path that Elyoya has walked already. And something that he's going to have to overcome, hurdles he's going to have to overcome, because we heard that both from Skewmon and Lebroff. Of course we think, is it us? Because it's the first final they don't win. And Elyoya, for me, is a guy who's gone through kind of such an anime arc, right? Because he bursts onto the scene, he gets rookie, he does great, he manages to win titles, and then he has to kind of start on the back foot again. He has to build everything up, and he chooses that path. He chooses to be the captain, and he says, everything we do, it falls on my shoulders, and he finds himself again in a final.
I mean, it is, and I think it's just credit to his work ethic, his drive, his passion, his will to be the best, his will to compete in Europe. He has not played in Fnatic, he has not played in G2, yet he has made himself known at the top of Europe. That is not an easy task, that is not a task that anyone can do. I think he's one of the only players in our league that has that capability.
I mean, that stat also, right? He made it to 7 internationals, right? And he hasn't been on G2 or Fnatic. There is no one who can say that.
Okay, I'm gonna get off my G2 hype train here, and I have to pay him respects, because it is incredible to be able to be part of, you know, the last 4 worlds, getting to so many international events, especially in a region like EU, where it's always been the G2, the Fnatic hype. But even we had the stints of Mad Lions, and he was at the core of it, and he has been the central piece of that ascension.
Let's talk about adaptations then, Odawamne, because you're backing your boy Skewmon, then I get it, because he's been leveling up, but it didn't work out in the finals. That wasn't his problem, that was a team problem. But what specifically has to change in how he approaches it?
Well, I feel like the team has cemented itself and has gelled more together, because even if you look at Elyoya when he won the split in 2021, the spring split was long. He had a lot of time to gel together with the team. Meanwhile, Skewmon only had pretty much a month and a half into that final, and he simply didn't have the time. Now, he works better with Labrov, he works better with Caps and with BB, and the team just understands each other so much more. And when you get to that state, the jungler finally has time to shine.
I mean, to me, the beautiful thing about this final is that when we criticized G2 early, they were a team where the support and jungle were desynced, but the rest of the team were standing out. Meanwhile, Mad Lions was a team where the support jungle was the core and the powerhouse of the team, and sometimes the rest of the team was desynced. So now, these teams are fighting in the final, and the team that is going to fix that issue, the team is going to gel the best, and the team is going to come together as one unit, is probably the team that is going to come out on top.
Yeah, I love that you say it comes together as one unit, because we saw yesterday how much MCore MKOI, they have, I think, ironed out some of these mistakes that they sometimes take fights that they don't have to or engage when they shouldn't, when they're ahead in a game and they have a comp that's scaling. I think they've added a lot of flavor to this best of 5, possibly, that we didn't expect last time and we also didn't see because it was very, very fast, Otto.
Yeah, it was the last time they faced. I felt like Jojo just had their number from the beginning to the end. Sure, they won the game 3, but with the drafts now, I'm expecting the adaptation that's going to be happening from Merwin as well, from BB, because they talked about it earlier. I feel like it's going to be a lot more competitive, and I do feel like we're going to get the best version of both of these teams today. Let's
see if we get the best version of both mids, as I think we're moving. Caps versus Jojo. I mean, the memes write themselves almost, but not just the memes because a lot is on the line. But whenever you ask Jojo about Caps specifically, he does remain very respectful, right? Goldberg, he says, well, the guy's the GOAT, right? In Europe, so what am I gonna do? But I think he could surprise us today.
He could absolutely surprise us because it's happened before. What happened the first time he played up against Vladdy? While we said the Caps was washed, Vladdy's now the #1. Well, he went up against Vladdy and he made fun of him, not only once, but he did it twice. Sure, in that upper bracket, Caps was for sure having the number of Jojo, but it's that possibility that you're talking about. It's that possible ascension to a greater height than what he's achieved so far that you're rooting for as an MKOI fan.
Absolutely, and for Jojo, if you just take a step back as well, right? We talk about ARC so much as these are the stats, of course, of last time they met. Let's mention them first.
Yeah, they're crazy, those stats. There is a story in these stats, and it shows.
It helps my story, don't worry.
Well, the thing is, Jojo has been really, really good, especially in the laning phase throughout these whole playoffs, but today he's facing the complete psychopath Caps, because Caps seems to have leveled up, especially against Jojo, because I don't feel like Caps has been having the greatest of splits so far, but man, that series against MKOI, he did pretty much trash Jojo around.
I mean, there's just something with Caps, when he plays against a good player, he just levels up another level and he kind of matches them and goes beyond. And that is why we always put so much faith in Caps in these long brackets, in these clutch moments in these playoffs. But I really want to say, I believe in Jojo, and he said in an interview that they have now prepared for both teams. They felt like they can beat K-Corp because they did before, and they prepared for G2 already. They're not going to come in with one night of preparation. They have a whole week of preparation ahead of them, and they believe they can take it.
Otto's giggling, but we'll check in with him later. There's just a couple of
There's so much
things.
hope in what Finn is saying.
Okay, I'll let you reply.
Yeah, I mean, so you're telling me that Caps just absolutely bodied Jojo last time just because of one night of prep? No, we had historical head-to-head. We even had the infamous tweet from G2. He put him on a leash last time they met. How can you just say it's just one night of prep? Come on. This guy won 14 finals.
I think Jojo has definitely leveled up, but I want to highlight the fact that he's now willing to play.
That's my boy right there.
Has now chosen to become kind of like Caps. He brings out these really clutch factors. He picks champions. He has not even practiced in scrims one single time. Yesterday he played Cassiopeia with single scrims in practice. He played one game of Cassidy in scrims and they lost completely. He is willing to go the distance and he's willing to take the fight into G2's court.
And Otto, I mean, Finn, you should have brought this up as well. You came from a team that was going on a down from a lower bracket run, who was knocked down 3-0 in the upper bracket, had to beat Fnatic, played against G2, won the rematch against the guy that was BB at the time, which I'm just saying, if we're looking at those stats, you know, miracles happen.
Hey, you know what was the difference at that time?
Yeah, what was it?
We lost 3-0.
Oh, okay.
They lost 3-1, so it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same.
Now who's scoping?
I'm glad you mentioned those numbers because there's a pretty crazy stat line surrounding Caps in finals, both domestically as internationally. It goes like this. If he wins at least one game in the final, he will win the series. If he loses, he's going to lose 0-3. And we saw that, you know, in Paris and in China.
So worldwide, he played 4 finals. 2 of them were in the LEC where he lost 3-0. But every single time he wins one game, he wins. He had 8 finals where he went 3-0 and 14 finals won in the LEC. Yeah. So eyes on Caps. If he wins one game, he's taking the whole pie home.
It's very interesting. It was in Korea, by the way, but they played China and it wasn't pretty. In either case, that's ancient history. They're not thinking about that, and we aren't either. But when it comes to Jojo, I think when you look at kind of a big journey as well, his history in NA and the way he had to leave that team in Cloud9, you have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and to go to EU, to take that risk, to get in that group of Spanish-speaking players, right, and try to make something of yourself. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, and I also want to highlight how warm the welcoming has been from MKOI. They really embraced him and made him a part of this Spanish core. And I feel like they give to him and he gives back twofolds. He has really just become one with his team. And I think especially in this spring season, the way he has integrated himself. Here Inspired said it even, he doesn't really like playing against Jojo too much because he is crazy. And it's so annoying to play against a player like that. And he just thinks that the only player that is similar to Caps is Jojo.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy what his work ethic got him. But just because from when he came from Cloud9 and he got kicked off that roster, people are already saying, well, he's a what if now. Like with the work ethic, with him coming late for the scrims, like everything we saw, but he was able to revitalize himself. We weren't convinced in winter, but no matter what happens in today's final, Jojo has proven that he deserves to be at the top.
I mean, it turns into a win condition for them, especially after yesterday, because yeah, I think there's a lot in this matchup, and the individual journeys are incredible to highlight, and it all comes down to kind of who takes that step today, because you know very well, nothing matters before this, it's only this.
Yeah, it's just a matter of prep. How did you manage your fatigue, and who has this clutch factor in him? You know, we have a bunch of players on both G2 and MKOI who I look at, Elyoya, Jojo as well, and for G2 Caps maybe, and BB historically.
I'm sorry guys, I don't want to interrupt. Shucks, I believe you have some business.
I do.
Let's continue the conversation back.
Where are we going?
Where are we taking
I'm
us?
taking you back home, guys.
God dare you!
Ooh, we're going on a trip. Mr.
We're
Worldwide
going
over
on a
here.
trip. We're going on a trip because we're minutes away from the opening ceremony, and I want to have your gut feeling on this series. I want to know some predictions. I want to know who you think is going to be the hero on each team and who's going to be the savior. Otto, before I interrupted you, you were actually making a really interesting point.
Well, since you interrupted me, I completely forgot my very interesting point. But my very interesting point right now is that I do think that G2 is going to 3-0 today.
All right, 3-0. What do we have?
I mean, I agree with him. I think it's a 3-0 for me as well. Last time the Caps was playing, he was running them, and it's not just about running the mid lane. It's about running the entire map. It's about running the region. That's what Cap's been doing recently, and I don't think he's going to stop today either.
Come on, Finn, join the club.
I see Finn gearing up for something wild here.
Dirty G2 supporting hands off me. I think MKOI is going to take the series 3-0. I have studied my history, and I know if Caps is losing in the finals, it's going to be 3-0. MKOI came in prepared, they come in with hunger, and they're fearful and voracious, and I think they're going to take the series 3-0.
Okay, to Finn's point as well, I will say, last winter when we came into that finals, we thought it was going to be a 3-0 for G2 as well. They were heavy favorites coming into that series. They are heavy favorites coming into today's series, and they still faltered, so it's not like it can't happen.
Well, it can happen, but at the same time, last time, how many times can you look at G2 and say, hey, bros, come on, stop griefing that rap, because what happened in winter was a crime, and I don't see it happening today, not against MKOI, not against Merwin, because I do feel like BB figured them out, and Merwin is just not spicy anymore.
I feel like draft is something players hide behind to mask the fact that sometimes it comes down to player. Which player is it going to come down to from each team?
I mean, my main character is Jojo.
I love
He has had such an arc. He has ascended to a new version of himself. And if anyone can take down Caps, if anyone can combat Caps in a final, I think it's going to be Jojo right now.
I mean, he said at the beginning of the year that he was going to come and on EU mids. He qualified for an EU final. He's going to be an NA representative at MSI. So for me, he's doing this. Can Cap stop him, though?
Well, he can. He will for sure, but at the same time, don't forget about my boy in the bot lane, Hans Mama, the anime superstar himself, because he's about to put on a performance, even though we didn't talk about him that much today.
Yeah, and while it's not win condition, my big question mark from G2 them really looking to step up, like he kind of done throughout playoffs, has actually been Labrov. I'm looking at the support matchup. Alvaro versus Labrov. I think Labrov has done phenomenal, but he needs to be the best support in playoffs against Alvaro.
Final words, expectation on this series, guys.
3-0.
What do you want to see? What do you want to I don't care about predictions. I said, what do you want to see?
Regardless of predictions, I think it's going to be an absolute banger because it is the best form we have both of these teams in, and I'm super excited. Even, you know, if I get proven wrong, I'm going to be happy.
I'm excited for some exciting drafts. I think both these teams really push each other in draft, and I think MKOI is going to come in and sweep the floor.
I want teams to give their all here, and we're just moments away from the last best of 5 of the split, and both teams are locked in and ready. And although MKOI has the momentum and G2 has the legacy, what matters is actually what they're going to deliver today. It is time for our 2025 Spring Finals opening ceremony.